So Mubarak Haruna and Victor Achutabaklo are here with me in the studio. We're ably backed by a very strong production team and a technical team as well. But, you know, there's a reason why we always see pitch invasions. And I'm sure that the next few minutes will justify, in a way, why sometimes fans go all the way and defy all the security rules just to have a feel or just to have a word or a personal touch with the people they consider their idols. Well, let's stick with football. There's so many examples from the movie industry, from the music industry, from concerts and all of that. But we'll stick to football because that's the subject for today. Well, Lamine Yamal is a sensation who is making a big impression here on the Euro 2024 tournament in Germany. Now, first of all, he now becomes the youngest player and the youngest goal scorer at this tournament. But what was the beginning like? What were the early days like? There could just have been some divine inspiration that came from a legend. And the legend is in Lionel Messi, who's also very close to winning yet another Copa America title with his nation, Argentina. We're going to be going into what happened with France last night, allowing Spain to do a massive comeback win. But for now, let's stick on that very big sensation of Lamine Yamal and how he has emerged in the system. Well, they always say fate has a way of bringing everybody together. Before I come to you, Victor, I'm reminded of goalkeeper Adam Lassen-Kwarase, formerly of the Black Stars, who told me a very interesting story about how Samir Osei-Kuffour saw him at the Accra Stadium and gave him a chocolate. And this was after the Black Stars game. This was after a Black Stars game that he had gone to watch with his father. And he told him, while giving him the chocolate, that you have to come and play for the Black Stars one day. And bingo, Lassen-Kwarase was at the FIFA World Cup with Ghana.
Fashion story. I think what he did yesterday also goes to show the level of greatness of another player, another former player in Pele. I was just looking at his numbers, and for a second I thought no teenager, especially his age, had managed to score in the semis of a major competition. And then I saw the numbers for Pele, who in 1958 scored once in the quarters, and then in the semi-final stage he scored a hat-trick for Brazil of the World Cup, and then in the final he scored twice, I think against France, and it was just 17 years at that time. The mere fact that he's been spoken of in the same breath as some of these greats, not just because of the perception of his quality, but in terms of what he's actually doing by virtue of that goal that he scored, it just goes to show the potential the young man has got and the things that he's already started doing at that young an age. But for us here, it also is proof of what can happen when you are intentional about influencing the career choices of your children. Here, it looks like the only people who do that are those in academia. So someone who became a medical doctor, someone who is that professor, wants his children to get the minimum of a PhD. Someone who's a lawyer wants his children to become lawyers. There are families where that easily come to mind. You know the families I'm talking about. There's no point mentioning them. But when it comes to sports, we're not intentional about not only sustaining the interest of those we believe could someday have a passion or be something more significant in the sports or in football specifically, but we fail to expose them to individuals and events, characters that will take them to the next level. We fail to be intentional about the environments that will not only keep them interested in it, but actually hone that talent that they have got. And so when we talk about the Lamine Yamal story, people are now pointing to the Leo Messi images that came, and he was young. People are now showing us that just 9 years ago, or when he was 9, he was one of the ball boys for the El Clasico. At that point, he was already in the Barcelona academy. People are now showing us all of the stuff that he was exposed to in that Barca academy. So at each stage, and the Messi incident is something that if your family is not intentional about doing something like this, you will not get into the free. We're told it was a charity event that the family got selected for, but it got selected because they were in the relevant football conversations around that time. He happened to, at the age of 9, be one of the ball boys selected for an El Clasico because he was in a football academy who had made it a point to expose those players. So the parents believed in that dream that this is what our child has to become. And for him to have the best chance of making it beyond the individual talents, this is what has to happen to him. This is where he has to go. We have to take him to an academy. That academy itself is futuristic in their thinking. And so right from the onset, they are exposing the players to the greats of that particular era and the greats of yesteryear. So they're exposing him to Messi. They're exposing him to Cristiano Ronaldo in that El Clasico that they take some of these kids to. Those things sustain your interest as a child. Sometimes just being good on the football pitch may not be enough to keep a player grounded or to keep someone's interest. And for me, look, I wish him all the best. From all indications, he has all the makings. My only worry and my only hope is that Barcelona do not take him down the same route that Pedri, that Gavi, that Ansu Fati all suffered, which was excessive use to the point of burning out, excessive use to the point where their bodies could no longer cope and crumbled under it. He's 16. He may have a freakish mentality and ridiculous ability to go with, but the body will still need time to adjust to the high-pressure cooker environment that elite football is. The body, he's not used to playing 30 out of 38 games in the La Liga season. He's not used to combining Champions League games. He's not used to playing Copa del Rey, and then every 3 months when he's supposed to be resting, has to go and play in the national team. He's not used to having to combine all of these stresses. Somebody has to manage the workload. He needs load management right from this onset because there's going to be the temptation to play him in every game. And the current Barcelona team is not great. They don't have a lot of match winners in their fold. So his performances now is even going to force their hand, as some would say, to play him whenever the team needs him, whenever they want to. But there's been examples of how badly they've managed the workload of some of the greatest talents that we have seen in the last 10 years, Gavi, Pedri, and we're seeing what is happening to them. Their situation should be a cautionary tale, and if there is anything that is perhaps more important for Barcelona in managing this kid, it has to be his load management.
Well, load management indeed, and that's where I'd come to you, Mubarak. Look, at age 16, you're looking ahead to the future. You're looking at the kind of longevity that Cristiano Ronaldo would have had, or his idol, Lionel Messi, has had, topping it up with winning the FIFA World Cup and all of that. That sure then goes that in the wake of the concern that there has to be a certain level of load management, he has quite a great future ahead of him if he started like this.
Yes, Nat. I mean, the talent has never been in doubt for those who have watched him from the Spain under 15, under 16, under 17. He's been performing like this. I think the surprising thing is because of his age. At the age of 16, he's performing this amazing. But that is Lamine Yamal. He's been playing like this for a couple of years now. And with performing consistently in these Euros has brought the spotlight on him more. But with the load management, I feel that is football for you at the moment. I mean, he's doing very well. It will be a crime if Barcelona decide not to probably start him in games or try to bench him in certain games. He's arguably their talisman at the moment. They don't have a player with so much talent, so much potential like Yamal in the team at the moment. I feel he's going to start games. And there are players who, probably not at age 16, but from 17, there are a couple of players who have excelled from that age, and they've played until they were in their late 30s. Ronaldo is one, Messi is one, Wayne Rooney is one, Mesut Ozil is one, Pepe is one. There are so many players who have also gone through that particular system and they've excelled. So it's something that he can do. That is elite football at the moment for you. We need consistency if he's someone who wants to grow from strength to strength, dominate world football, win trophies, win individual accolades, then he has to play consistently and he has to make a mark in every game. And I think he's primed for that at the moment. That is football for you.
I see. Well, the difference is that the examples that you mentioned of those who excelled did it away from Barcelona. When Barca, the current iteration of Barcelona, have had to manage talents like his, they've not been able to. And there are examples. I've mentioned Gavi, I've mentioned Pedri. The approach this time has to change. Otherwise, they are just going to... And there is...
Rooney at age 17 was playing for...
But that's the point. Barcelona specifically, because they are the same people who manage all of the... And all of these examples happened in the last 5 years. That is why I don't have the confidence that if they repeat the same load management that they did with the 3 previous players. And the narrative around these... The only difference between what this kid is doing and what those other players did was that he has a major senior tournament, right? He has a major tournament at the senior level to show for it. But quite apart from that, everything he was doing in La Liga, Ansu Fati did, Gavi did, Pedri did. But we saw how game time and the excessive use of that influenced their inability or resulted in the fact that these days they can hardly play. Something has to be different. Otherwise, he may just end up as one of those other players.
All right. And you hit the nail right on the head talking about Ansu Fati, who also started, getting these, getting a lull on his form because, he was being overused. Anyway, so we'll do some more. We'll do some more here, and we'll be throwing the focus specifically on Spain and how they came back from a goal down to get this job done against France, the 2000 winners. Let's get back to the action, shall we? Okay, so that was Lamine Yamal at 15 and now replicating these at 16. Okay, look.
You guys were confident in Mbappe. Now, I would want you to do analysis today.
Okay, so this is it. I always talk about players and having their days. In the FIFA World Cup final, we saw something unique about Kylian Mbappe that we probably may not have seen in his whole club career or, his run for country. Now, yesterday, I saw an Mbappe who psychologically was not up to it. And maybe physically, even though I'm not on his medical team, maybe physically and medically as well, was not up to it. Now, whenever you are confronted with a situation as good as the last chance that we scored, that last chance was a goal. Irrespective of how amateur any of us is, I mean, in that kind of situation, you should be able to locate the net. But like I said, it's the psychological situation, it's the state of the mind, and also the whole situation. The luck also not coming to play here. Because look, on a regular day, if anybody was told to vote any moment before that, Kylian Mbappe got that chance, everybody would have given it to him because he's given proof of it. He's up there in terms of the quality, but it just was not their day. And the fact that at a certain point, the French were pushing and pressing hard and just were not able to figure things out, I thought, something, let's just give this to Spain. And for those who are on the side of England, well, I know it's going to be a very big debate, but look, Spain are looking good. And I'm very sure that, when we go back to some of the tapes, we've done analysis here that goes to point that Spain are the men for the job this term, okay? So for me, it's more of a day gone bad for, and this also reminds me of the France 1998 World Cup, FIFA World Cup final when Brazil came up against France at the Stade de France. Everything was just pointing to France. That day, their playing pattern was good. They were at home, they were comfortable, and they cut Brazil to size in terms of making sure that they were cutting their interpassing play and all of that. And look, they were able to score their goals, and the late President Jacques Chirac was there celebrating, unusually, because, when you're in the VIP, you have to, be very prim and proper, So, and I'm making reference to this because of Ronaldo and the injury he sustained in that final and how he just could not be himself and be the terrorist striker who's always running at the defenders and giving hell to Fabian Barthez in post. But hey, what happened? It just didn't happen for him. And I believe that this is one of the days, for France. I don't know if you agree or disagree.
It's one of the days.
Yeah, it's one of the days.
I should talk, I'm listening.
No, continue. But on a more serious note, my disappointment yesterday was just the sheer number of chances France conceded. We have essentially given this team a pass for how they play, because they have proven that they don't necessarily need to be the most exciting team on the pitch to get their results, and they have. We've, in the past week, spoken about their run since Didier Deschamps became manager, how many semis they've made, how many finals they've been to, and in terms relative to some of the European superpowers, how their numbers are superior to basically everyone else. But the credibility from that approach stems from the fact that they limited teams to the minutest of chances while having a clearly defined approach to finding goals. Yesterday, and largely in this competition, they have not that oomph about them in front of goal. And yesterday, criminally, they looked unusually susceptible to not only to counter breaks, but even with the Spanish team playing on the front foot. Like when they were attacking, because typically you'd pardon counter breaks and the chances that are created from counter-attacking scenarios, because that's not when your team is at rest defense. But when the opponent is attacking, their default approach, and they are able to carve you out with ease. Before France scored, Spain had a brilliant opportunity to score. And Fabian Ruiz just headed the ball over the bar. Then they had another chance that was cleared before, then France scored. Then they had a chance similar to that, and they missed it. So I was a bit disappointed at the manner in which Spain were carving them out open, how they were dragging them out of position the whole time, and the chances that they were creating at will. Look, nobody expected that to happen.
I
Because
did.
in this particular competition, no team had managed to do that, right? And so, per the form guide, per everything that they have shown us in this competition, they were supposed to be a bit more resilient at the back and perhaps be able to deal with the threats of the Spanish team in a much better way. But that did not happen. They conceded so many chances. And when they had the ball, they didn't play with that much conviction and could not force the Spanish or could not create some of the chances. And this was a Spanish team that had its own weaknesses. I mentioned before the game that if they created the right environment, Ousmane Dembele and Cucurella 1v1 was something that they will be excited with the outcomes. If they created the right environment on the other flank as well, Kylian Mbappe was going to have Navas on toast. But somehow they could not bring their best attacking talents into play. Instead, whenever they had the ball, it was often in areas where they could not really make any significant contribution to the game.
Well, let's go back to Spain and talk about a player who's also come to the party, at least in some 2 games, and it's Dani Olmo. You know, he's brought a certain level of influence, you know, in play, and that obviously is very impressive and could mean a lot for them going into this big final.
Yes, Nat. It's quite unfortunate you are narrowing it down to just Dani Olmo. In fact, yesterday I said it's just the entire team. I mean, the players on the bench are equally capable. They are not the same players as those who are starting, but once they are on the pitch, they are going to give their best and to ensure that Spain would have the needed result. And Dani Olmo is no exception in the competition. He's performed superbly well, either starting or coming off the bench. He's made some real impact. Against Germany, he was super. Yesterday, he was brilliant as well. And he's a player that I think he's, at the moment, one of the most underrated players in the world, not just in this tournament, in the world. Because you look at his talent, the skill, what he has in his locker is, wow, what's he eating there?
That's Banku.
Okay, so hold on a second, guys. So this is a video. He says, another game, another goal. And he's got fried plantain. I see something like rice with, I'm not sure, jollof. Well, the claim is that it's fufu, but I'm not very sure. It looks more like
It doesn't look like
eba with
That doesn't look like fufu, yeah.
Yeah, but there's a Ghana flag there, meaning that there's a lot of Ghanaian influence. The sauce there in that, you know, that little container there, I don't understand. Okay, so that looks like tuna and maybe garden egg stew. Okay.
And Koko powering his performance. Wow.
Okay. So yeah. So,
Yes, so,
Ghanaian food being given, the
the hype there.
The originators of, assuming all of these were Ghanaian,
The Ghanaian flag that was edited, I'm sure.
of these dishes themselves, no. What have they been able to achieve in recent major tournaments? Like my fancy friends will tell you, Enimbo. If you are good, you are good.
Okay. But there's always something with eating your favorite meal, having your favorite people around you, seeing your.
Telling you.
No, hold on. There is something. I mean, the game is a total package. It's a total operation. Your talent, yes. But there are other non-footballing factors which always come to play. Players see their girlfriends. Wait. Players have seen their girlfriends and have scored before. We've seen boxers see their children in the stands and get into a certain mode.
We all need the inspiration.
Yes,
Even Moses needed
you never know. I mean,
that's different from the food.
Nico Williams in one of the videos was he and his brother Iñaki enjoy a lot of these Ghanaian dishes. When you see Nico play, do you get the impression that Iñaki eats the same dance?
Well, you see,
this is why I don't want us to get.
Are you talking about for Black Stars?
Yes. That's why I don't want us to get.
Yeah, but that's a different conversation.
But
the guy is performing at club level.
Even at Bilbao.
No. Okay, yeah, of course.
When you see the two of them play.
No, but you see, they were not born on the same day. They are not twins.
So now you're admitting there is something beyond what you take in.
Well, what I say is that what you take in helps the mind. That is why, that's why our friends out there always outwit us when it comes to these kinds of stages, because they consider the total package of the game. Some people are looking at nutrition, some people are looking at physique, some people are looking at your muscle bulk and its performance and all of that. What I'm saying, I'm just saying that, see, right now as you did here, if I whisper your, if I whisper your favorite meal to you right now, it will boost your mood while we're getting to the finish line of the show, because you're going to eat your meal. It's uplifting. Good food is uplifting.
I'm just saying to you that at this level, you see all the nice diets that we saw the French team, how they will choose their own breakfasts. Each player will choose what they want. At this level, it is what the English national team will also have.
What are you having for lunch anyway?
I have not made up my mind yet.
If you were told to decide, what would you eat?
Maybe some banku or something. But at this level, the Spanish team will have access to something similar. Maybe not the same diet, but it's basically the same level of preparation and quality of preparation, right?
Yeah.
What matters, as for the diet and all of, this is not Africa. As for the diet and all of those things, all of them take it seriously at this level in the European Championships. It is the technical aspects, and to a certain extent, the psychological aspect that matters. Once you are fit and you come to the camp, the information they will give you, your capacity to make sense of that.
Sometimes spare the technical, the psychological aspect.
Guys,
we're doing a round of messages, and after that, Karim comes in to join us. But we're still here on Euros today. We're looking ahead to the game that we played later tonight. Is it coming home, as the English say? Is it going to a capital called Amsterdam with a dominant color called orange? Well, we'll be talking about that when we return from the messages. We're right here on Euros Today. Well, Euros Today is sponsored proudly by NASCO. NASCO bring home happiness and Heritage Christian College, educating passionate entrepreneurial leaders. Okay, so there's a lot to do today, and I'm going to bring on the man, Karim. Karim, make your way here now. And today, I don't know why Karim is smiling, but yeah.
You see, I'm wearing white.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tell me why.
I'm celebrating. Yes.
Yeah. Celebrating with who?
We've won, and we are in the final.
When you say we, what do you mean? You are. Okay, so Danny K is Portuguese, and you are Spanish.
I'm Spanish.
Daniel is going through it.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm from Catalonia.
Daniel,
I see.
Karim is the reason Daniel is not here.
I see.
You'll meet Daniel on Friday.
Oh,
I see.
I'll welcome him really nicely.
Cut this part after the show and show it to Daniel to prepare for Karim.
Okay, so you're going to take us through some of the figures from that game last night.
Yes.
But before that,
yeah. And Cecilia, Babole, Vivier Cassia, Ajimona Sisomona, Uveni here, Siradikia.
Okay, that's like 3 sentences.
Yes.
Okay, what does it mean?
if the child is smart and knows how to wash the hand, he
would
dines
dine.
with the elders.
Okay. Or with adults.
All right. That we're familiar
That
with.
is a more profound version to the account one. That just says,
If you wash your hands well, you dine with kings.
this one requires wisdom and smartness.
Very true. Very true.
So yesterday we've seen that everything Lamine Yamal touches is history. And you've spoken at length about his performance in that game. And he's broken a 66-year record that Pele has held since 1958, becoming the first teenager to score at a major tournament, just 16 years and 362 days. Just after he would turn 17 just before the final of the tournament. And there's a lot he can still achieve. When I get to him, we'll talk about it more. But let's look at it. France, even the goals themselves here, there's a lot in there. France have, before the game, have attempted 86 non-penalty shots, and they've not scored in all of them. And just 8 minutes in this game, they've scored their first goal from open play. After finally 87 shots they've taken at the Euros. Even in Spain, the Lamine Yamal equalizer, I just spoke at length about what it means. Then Dani Olmo scoring in 3 consecutive games. That is like, it's not every player that can come off the bench and do such things. Probably if Pedri was fit, he would not be in the starting 11. Let's look at it. Expected goals. A lot of clear-cut chances were not created in this game, but they were certainly decent ones that if both sides had been clinical, we could have seen more goals. Looking at it, just some few minutes in, that Lamine Yamal cross and Theo Hernandez missing that one. So France was expected to score just 1 goal. They did that, but we know they could have scored more. The same for Spain. They were also expected to score just 1. Look at the number of shots. This is really low for a game of this nature. Spain, look at this possession. This was really something. Spain were conservative at this tournament. And even if you're looking at how France dominated the game and how threatening they were on so many occasions, Spain, we wouldn't expect them that they'll have 58% of possession. And in the tournament, this is not something that they are really masters at. They were sitting back and really thriving on their efficiency. Let's move it on to the momentum graphic. It will explain how Spain are dominating possession. Look at how low it is for Spain. Just really down throughout the game. It means that they had the ball all right, but if you're looking at their average positions, they were just crossing outside of their own half and playing all the ball there because they are protecting their lead. That is why France didn't have a lot of the ball and they are controlling the momentum in the game. Now let's talk about the brilliance of Lamine Yamal in this game. In that game yesterday, he created 2 key big chances. One of them, the guy Fabien Ruiz missed before France took the lead. And even before France took the lead, when Spain scored the equalizer, after that equalizer, it took France, they were shocked at how the goal came and how brilliant it is. And sometimes, you know, when you take the lead and you concede, it's really difficult to overcome that kind of some kind of mental distress in it, how to overcome it and bounce back into the game. And looking at it, those 2 goals, they came within 5 minutes. So when Lamine Yamal equalized for Spain, it took France 32 minutes before they attempted a shot in that game again. And also Spain, after also scoring the goal that gave them the win, took them about 36 minutes before they attempted a shot again in that game. We know that they were sitting back at that time and trying to protect their lead. This is Lamine Yamal at the Euros. 6 games, 6 big chances created. Now, no player at the Euros since 1980s has created 6 big chances at the Euros. That's why I'm saying that everything he touches turns out to be gold. Scored only 1 goal. For the number of shots that he has taken, we'll be thinking that he should score more goals than just the 1. But looking at his age and scoring 1 goal has become history for him. 3 assists created, is now the 3rd player to contribute the most, to be involved in the most goals at the Euros. And let's look at it in the sense that his age and what he can achieve. Probably now, if I'm asking with what he's doing, and if I ask Achu, maybe do you think maybe if Spain go on to win the title, he can emerge the player of the tournament?
It's looking like. For my money, Nico Williams has been the better player, but the stats skew the argument in his favor.
Yes, because of how productive he is with the goal involvement. Yeah. Now let's look at it. The youngest player to become to emerge as the player of the tournament at the Euros and at the World Cup, like major tournaments. R9, Ronaldo, not the one who exited.
Nazario Lima.
Yes. R9 at the 1997 Euros, he was 21 years and 300 something.
You mean the Copa America?
Yes, Copa America. At the Copa America in 1997. He was 21 years and about 300 something days old when he emerged as the player of the tournament at the Copa America. And the following year at the World Cup, the 1998 World Cup, he won the Golden Ball. So as at now, he's the youngest player, 21 years and a number of days to become the player of the tournament at a major tournament. It means that Lamine Yamal, if Spain go on to win the title, he could be breaking the record for the youngest player to emerge as the player of the tournament.
And that's definitely not your regular 16-year-old boy.
Yes. Yeah. At 17 years old. Now let's look at it. Mbappe himself has admitted that at the Euros, it is not one of his best tournaments. But if you are going into history, the Euros is not particularly a competition that he thrives at. 9 games, he scored just 1 goal and assisted twice. This is the first time he's scoring at the Euros. And it is not from a regular open play goal, a penalty he has scored. And if you're even looking at his overall conversion rate at the Euros, just 3% before yesterday's game, and yesterday he has not scored. So it still means that 3% from 34 shots at the Euros, and he's converted just 1 of them. Well, and if you are comparing it to his numbers at the World Cup, we'll see that maybe it's more difficult than the Euros, and he's scoring more at the World Cup. He has 12 goals in 12 goals at the World Cup, and from 39 shots at the World Cup, he has a conversion rate of 31%. It means that maybe the World Cup is his tournament. Some things are not for some people. Maybe the Euros is not his game.
All right. So that said, we would want to also start looking at when would see Mbappe get back. Of course, we're looking forward to the next FIFA World Cup. That will be the next major event.
You won't have to wait
internationally.
That August, September, you will see him at Real Madrid. I mean, this was just
hopefully. Well, I'm saying this, projecting that they will qualify. So well,
look. Now, it happens to the best of players. The same Nazario Lima that Karim was talking about. In the final of France '98.
Yeah, I mentioned it earlier.
Stories have come up, but immediately after that tournament, we saw the real Ronaldo again until the injuries came in, and then when the World Cup came, he walked off that treatment bed to go and produce one of the greatest performances in World Cup history. So I am not bothered at all for Kylian Mbappe. Okay,
so there it is. We want to start looking at what confronts us later tonight, and that is Netherlands versus England. They say it's coming home, but they need to overcome this hurdle first. The Orange Army.
Yes, Nat. A very difficult game tonight. I feel the two teams have not performed above their capabilities in terms of the kind of players they have. Obviously, England would be pragmatic because of the kind of manager they have. Koeman, he also has that mentality, but the Netherlands are quite devastating on the break. They've proven that in this tournament. But I think their chances of winning is contingent upon them not switching off. The Netherlands, they have a habit of not performing very well across 90 minutes. I've said this many times here. And almost all the time when they switch off, they find themselves wanting. And I think with England, it's very hard to tell. They are not playing superbly well, but they some way, somehow find a way of grinding results. And that makes it pretty much surprising. I feel, look, my heart is with England. My head is for Netherlands. I don't know which one is overruling
his heart and his head are divided. What about you, Achu?
I wouldn't want to predict because I don't like either side. I don't like the football they play. I don't believe in it because...
But we have them playing and we have to...
Yeah, one will definitely be in the final.
Because if you look at the English team, they are no more than... In fact, they are not even as good as the sum of their parts, which is to say that you expect them to play much better given their individual abilities. I mean, and some of the adjustments that would liberate this team to play with a bit more conviction and with more verve in front of goal are not complex. They are not rocket science. I, for example, think that, look, the full folding experiment has not worked. It is impossible to accommodate him and Jude Bellingham in the same team. Maybe another manager can do it, but Gareth Southgate has proven over the 5 games that we have seen that he's not capable of doing that while maintaining balance and attacking threats in the same breath. Later tonight, we perhaps are going to see something or a repetition of what we saw on Saturday in that quarterfinal game against Switzerland. To a certain extent, it would work because the Dutch themselves have not been a vintage team in this competition. I would want to see Harry Kane step up. It's been 5 games of nothingness from him. I would want to see a bit more from Jude Bellingham because just waiting to, at the right moment, or to have 2 moments out of over 500 minutes of football simply doesn't cut it for me in a tournament like this where the English are in desperate need of inspiration. And so if England are going to get anything, this is the one game where they cannot slumber their way into the final. This is not the game where they can play like they've done in the last 5 minutes because the team they are facing tonight themselves, while not being a great team, are quite competent and capable of playing as badly as England have all tournaments and sneak their way past them into the final. So at this point, I think it's all or nothing.
All or nothing indeed. Any chance, based on the fact that they've not been tops according to what we've all seen, are we likely to get into, from what you see, are we likely to get into maybe like an extra time situation, penalty?
Yeah, because it will be a cagey encounter because both teams, like we said, they are more or less average. Their performances have not really been up to the mark. So it's quite possible for the game to travel to extra time. But I'm quite confident, slightly, I would put my money on England. Not because I support them, but I feel with the way they come up, their players come up in moments, it's just that they have some luck that follows them. It's something that is inexplicable, but it's working for them. So, and that's football, it happens.
Okay, so football, it happens. Let's see how things go. Tomorrow when we come by, we will do our best to see if we can give a prize out tomorrow by kind courtesy of NASCO. Do remember that this game will be live on Joy 99.7 FM. We'll bring you some live radio commentary, so you'd have to follow us. And talk about that, remember that the Joy, the multimedia group is proud to be associated with Sporty TV and SportyBet, who are the official rights holders, granting us the rights to bring you live radio commentary. Added to all of this as well, we're bringing you some nice curated shows, including this one, as we build up towards the final of this big tournament. Also, remember that you can catch selected games, including tonight's game and the big final, on channel 36 of your digital sets as well. All of this by kind courtesy of Sporty TV and SportyBet. Remember that our coverage of Euro 2024 is proudly sponsored by NASCO. NASCO Bring Home Happiness and Heritage Christian College, educating passionate entrepreneurial leaders. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for the time. Thanks to Karim, and thank you, Victor. Victor just doesn't like these two teams, but unfortunately, he has to do commentary and do summaries on them tonight on Joy FM. We'll be back tomorrow to bring you another show, same time, 11 a.m., so you make a date with us. And remember, you get your thinking caps on and make sure that your keypads are ready to dial the number, because we will bring you a wonderful prize by kind courtesy of NASCO. Thanks to the whole production team here. Thanks to our lead producer as well. We'll be back tomorrow. Have a wonderful time. Keep it here on Joy Prime. My name is Nathaniel Atto, and I have love for sport.